How do you do? Mr. Carl Lemley feels it would be a little unkind to present this picture without just a word of friendly warning. We are about to unfold the story of Frankenstein, a man of science who sought to create a man after his own image without reckoning upon God. It is one of the strangest tales ever told. It deals with the two great mysteries of creation, life and death. I think it will thrill you. It may shock you. It might even horrify you. So if any of you feel that you do not care to subject your nerves to such a strain, now is your chance to, well, we've warned you.
What did you just say? Start that again?
There was a planned Child's Play PS2 game.
Shut the front door. No, I did not know that. I'm now actually looking it up. I had no idea.
It's called Chucky, or it was going to be called Chucky Slash and Dash.
Chucky Slash and Dash.
Or is that something else, actually? That might be something else.
Chucky Slash and Dash video game is a 2013 endless runner game by... Oh, so it's like...
Yeah, no,
on Android.
that's something different. Sorry, that is something different.
No, but the fact this even exists, I had no idea this even existed. Oh, this looks bad. Oh, this looks great. This looks great and bad.
It was called Chucky Wanna Play. Was the
Wanna Play?
Was the PS2 game?
There it is.
Stealth action video game based on the Child's Play franchise.
Chucky Wanna Play?
Was it PS2? This looks like it might have been later.
I found it on the Chucky wiki.
Yeah. Announced in 2011 and had the
looks a bit later.
I mean, maybe that's it. Maybe that was resurrected from this original PS2 game that was gonna.
Yeah.
Come out.
I'm not really sure though. How would you play as Chucky? I mean,
I think that was the plan. I think you played as Chucky. Did you ever play? And I doubt it because not many people did. But did you ever play Naughty Bear? About the serial killer teddy bear.
That sounds awfully familiar, sir. I'm gonna have a quick look. Naughty Bear.
So that was.
Let's have a look.
That was Xbox 360.
Oh, I do know of that. Yeah, the marketing was. The poster looks very much like Kill Bill, like the bride from Kill Bill.
Mm-hmm.
And the bear looks like Ted from Ted.
Yeah. So the premise, it's incredibly ridiculous. The premise is basically you are the titular naughty bear who lives in like teddy bear land, and because you sort of like the naughty one, you don't get invited to the teddy bear's picnic, so you decide to go along and kill everybody. So essentially, it's a stealth game where the teddy bears will be having a party. Each level is a different setting. They're having a beach party. They're having a pool party at the mansion. They're having, whatever it might be. And basically, you have to like sneak in there, sneak around, and kill the rest of them. And there's lots of like environmental kills. You can smash people into electrical boxes and burn them in fires, or put them into grinders or whatever. There's a bunch of different things. There's like a fear mechanic as well, so you can terrorize them and make them scared and run around. But essentially, the object of the level is to kill all the other teddy bears. So it's basically like the Friday the 13th game, but you're a teddy bear.
It looks fantastic.
And it was pretty fun, but the novelty wore off fairly quickly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I did have it, and it was great fun to play for a few hours. But after a couple of hours of it, you kind of think, I've seen everything this game has to offer, and it's not going to get any different. But I think essentially that's what that Child's Play game was going to be. You were going to be Chucky, and in each level you'd have an objective to kill everybody, certain people, escape and kill people or whatever. But yeah, essentially that's what it was. I think
that makes sense. Yeah, that's understandable. Yeah, it's a hard one trying to. I mean, I think Dead by Daylight probably got the formula right for a horror game based on horror franchises in a way. Unless you've got your own created story and universe and plot device and whatnot, say a Resident Evil or Silent Hill, it's got to be quite hard to create a video game based on a franchise that is basically it's just especially a slasher.
Yeah,
because what do you do? How do you set it unless you follow the film? But then you can't follow the film because you know what's going to happen. You won't die at certain points unless you're it's got to be really tough to.
Well, I mean, I think as we've seen up to now, you've got the asymmetrical survival games like Dead by Daylight. You go down that route, or it's like a survival horror game, something like Alien Isolation, or as we talked about, one of those interactive movie sort of Telltale style games, or the Dark Anthology stuff.
I suppose so. Yeah,
would work, but it depends. I suppose it depends what the like say if a slasher probably lends itself more to the Dead by Daylight style of stuff than anything else. It's not to say it couldn't work in another genre, but I think it depends on the IP, doesn't it? Really.
Would something like a Scream would work well as a visual novel murder mystery style, because it is a whodunit, Scream, in the slasher sense. The others aren't. The others we've talked about it so many times before. Jason, Michael, Fred, Scream is Ghostface. You don't know who's done it, so there could be a very murder mystery based on like an old Sherlock Holmes, like detective sort of style game, like that, trying to figure out who is Ghostface. That could work, maybe. Yeah,
I think it depends. I think it does depend. I mean, something like Aliens, you've got obviously more often than not they go down the action shooter route. But then, which has been done various degrees of success, but has been done to death.
Yeah.
But then Alien Isolation decided to do something different, and people were blown away by it.
Sorry, are we not talking about Alien Colonial Marines?
I mean, I said
the gold standard.
There was mixed results with those shooter ones.
The gold standard of Alien games. Come on now.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
But I think it depends. Yeah, it depends on the IP.
As far as I can tell, we are recording and everything's working okay.
Cool.
Now, the reason I bring that up is because of today's episode in question.
Yes.
Being we are... I don't want to use the term redoing. Reattempting. We are rebooting our Monsters of Universal episode.
It's a requel.
It's a requel, folks. It's a requel here on the Dreadcast on episode 51 on our series of Monsters of Universal. Welcome, everyone. My name is Tom, and this is the lovely Aidan.
Hello.
And
Welcome back.
We've got some catching up to do because Frankenstein shit the bed.
It was lost.
It was lost in the ether. We're blaming Antrum for that because we were cursed. We were cursed by the deadliest film ever made.
Yes. It absolutely annihilated our hard, well-researched, incredibly coherent, in-depth analysis of the Universal Frankenstein movie.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, you're going to get a really
rough
and ready, half-remembered rehash.
I found my notes. I've still
got my notes. I do still have my notes.
But yeah, we'll get into that in a bit. Apologies again, folks. That it's like I feel like when I think like you came up with this series. I'm putting it on you. You came up with this series. Okay. When we started with Dracula, and I feel like that was such a strong episode. Really enjoyed it. Mm-hmm. And then we were like, yes, let's get into Frankenstein. This is going to be great. Great number 2. And the momentum just went. It was such a shame. It really was.
It really was. And then obviously scheduling as well. We haven't been. If we could have maybe just gone back in and done it.
Yeah.
But I know what you mean. We've sort of fell into that trap of like, oh yeah, well we'll delay it, and then for various other reasons we haven't been able to do it this episode as sooner as we originally planned. So yeah, It's kind of dragged on and on now, and it's looming over as like this hulking creature.
Yeah, but it did make sense to hold off because of the fact part 3 being the main film of today's episode was The Mummy, 1932, also featuring lead actor Boris Karloff. So it kind of made sense to tie it in together. So yes, in Una Memento, folks, we will have a little quick rundown of Frankenstein, our thoughts, our recommendations, what we liked, what we didn't like. Just we'll set a timer, we'll give it a brief summary, and then we will move on to Le Mummy.
Yeah.
Before that, though, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Did it arrive?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm assuming the it in question is my copy of Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Of course it is.
Yes. The Next Generation. I couldn't remember the subtitle.
How dare you?
Yes. The 4th generation Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Yes, it has arrived.
Lovely.
It has arrived. Haven't watched it yet.
That's what I know. You're saving it for a, I don't know, like special like someone's birthday or anniversary.
I'm saving it. We've watched nothing but Game of Thrones since we started doing our rewatch. Like my partner has just been hooked on it, and literally we've done like 2 or 3 episodes every night.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
We've got 1 more episode to go.
Yeah.
Which we're going to save until tomorrow, and then I'm free to watch some other things. But yeah, literally nothing else has got a look in as we've been binging Game of Thrones again.
Don't tease us. Don't tease us all. Oh, it's happening. It's going to happen soon. Can't wait. It's going to happen. It'll be the first. I tell you, it's the first film as soon as we come back from our break. It's going to be. It's got to be.
Oh, it can be. Yeah,
it will be. There we go, folks. Speaking of hiatus, again, I've mentioned in the last fair few episodes, we will be taking a little hiatus from mid-August to mid-September, just for life shenanigans. But the last 2 films of these next few weeks before the hiatus, obviously be today's episode of Monsters Universal, and 2 big hitters, which I'm really looking forward to discussing, being The Exorcist, the OG, the original Exorcist, and Return of the Living Dead. Because do you want to party? It's party time. Yes, you want to party. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I do have, I think an eBay win. I'm just checking now. I should have won a little Blu-ray copy of that.
Of Return of the Living Dead?
Yes.
Did you get the Blu-ray? Because I got the 4K.
Yeah, I looked at it, but it was like, like I'm not as big. I'm saving my 4K purchases for like big movies that I really love first and foremost.
Mm-hmm.
So it is just it's a 30th anniversary edition of the Blu-ray release. Can
you link it to me so I can see which one it is?
Yeah.
I'm just curious because there's quite a few releases of it. So I bought the 4K release last year, and I also got the 4K release of Return of the Living Dead 3 because I'm a big sucker for Return of the Living Dead 3. I think it's brilliant. I think it's a great take on the franchise and the zombie.
Yeah.
I like the second one is okay, but it's basically the first film again. I find. That I need to add to the collection. Oh, here we go.
There we go. That's the one.
Oh, there it is. Oh, I've never seen that artwork before. 30th anniversary, so that's maths. 2015 release. Okay. That's really nice. I've never seen that artwork. I like that it's got Tarman in the back and Thrash. Zombie Thrash sat there.
So it's looking good. It's sitting there. I think there's still a day and a bit to go on it, but I've got it for a good. I'm not posting the actual link because I don't want people getting in there and sniping me. I'm getting it for a good price at the minute. So
well, they won't be able to. How long's left? Because this isn't a live stream.
Oh yeah, good point.
No one's going to be able to snipe you.
I'll have it then by the time it comes out. I'm confused. It's Friday.
It is. No, that's a really that's regardless. It's not ultra 4K. That's a nice addition because it's a piece of artwork on there I've never seen before. It's not the poster. That's a really cool piece for the collection. Also, it's not Thrash. It's Trash. I always get that wrong. Trash.
Yeah, there was a couple of good ones listed on eBay, but I mainly went for that one because of the price of it, to be honest. So I was like, that's I can get that for a good price. I'll be pleased with it. Because again, I've seen it, and I thought if we're gonna watch it but it's not something I have in the collection at the minute. And I thought if we're gonna be doing it for the pod, it'd be nice to pick up a copy of it. I'll just see what I can get. So hopefully by the time we get round there, I'll have won that, and we'll
fingers
have
crossed. Fingers crossed. Otherwise, you'll never be able to watch it.
I mean, yeah, it's not like it's hard to come by, but
it's not like
get that one.
Not like I didn't have access to my Blu-ray version of The Mummy for today's episode, so I didn't just find it on internetarchive.com and found a copy of The Mummy.
What did I watch on there? I watched something on there the other day as well.
Oh, Internet Archive.
Yeah.
I never knew about it until doing this podcast when I'm trying to find quick ways to watch the films when I'm like in a rush.
Yeah.
Type of watch it online for free. Internet Archive. Oh, there's loads of stuff on here.
There was some good stuff. Yeah, I watched something on there the other day. I can't remember what it was now. I was like, oh yeah, I need to find X. I was like, yes, excellent. There it is.
You do.
Oh, it was Maximum Overdrive. That's where I watched that.
You watched it on there. Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, I watched it on another stream today. Oh, man, that feels like a lifetime ago. Maximum Overdrive.
It does.
It was 2 weeks ago.
I was watching recently a little YouTube compilation of Stephen King. It was Stephen King's opinions on Stephen King films. So it was a rundown of I think 10 Stephen King movies and like what he said in various interviews and reviews about said movies. Because I think it's a short of all his things that have been committed to film. I think it's a fairly short list of ones that he actually likes.
Right, I can believe that.
And Maximum Overdrive was on that list, and it's well documented what he thinks about that, and his reasons for it. But it was so interesting. I think Stand By Me is pretty much the only one that he really, really likes.
I love that film. It's a great film. It's very different from his other films, though. I think that's why it stands out more.
Yeah.
Obviously, he despises The Shining, right? I believe he.
Yeah, really, not like. I think he basically just says that the point was missed entirely, and doesn't like it at all.
Yeah,
which is understandable because it's based on his work, but for most people, The Shining is one of the greatest movies, if not horror movies aside, it's one of the greatest movies.
Yeah, as a film.
Yeah. People love it, and it's endlessly talked about and analysed and all the rest of it. But yeah, Stephen King's like, nope, it's trash, the worst, one of the worst interpretations. But it's his work, so he's perfectly entitled to say that.
Are you aware of Room 237 documentary?
I am. I've not watched it.
I've not watched it. Fascinating.
I think it might be on my Prime watch list.
That really shows how insanely genius Kubrick was. That he fucked with the sets so much that half of it doesn't make sense. Half of it is not physically possible.
Right.
Where some of the sets were, how one person gets from there to there, some of it is fascinating. And then you get some of the people that are interviewed, film historians and proper film buffs, where they're going down conspiracy theories and there was one if you play the film and then overlay the film but play it from the end to the start, overlay it on top, everything sort of lines up.
Oh, right.
Everything imagery sort of lines up, and it's just weird. Yeah, it's really bizarre. Some of the conspiracy theories on that.
I don't know. I'll give it a watch at some point because that sounds interesting. I mean, I think one of the main things is everybody knows what absolute bastard he was to work for as well.
Oh God,
poor Shelley Duvall.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And various
other
people. Yeah, he's just known for being a complete a-hole, isn't he? But yeah, as a work of cinema, it's up there. But according to Stephen King, it's the worst adaptation of his stuff, which is pretty interesting.
Right. Shall we get into...
Let's get into it.
Oh, Franky, Steiny, Franky.
Oh,
Frankenstein.
Franky.
Yes, 19... I've lost the year already.
31.
31, Frankenstein.
1931.
I feel like we did a good 2-hour session on this before, so we gotta...
Yeah.
Condense
We've got to try and condense that, yeah.
You like
go
it?
Ahead. No,
did you like it?
Yeah, I did. Yes, yeah, I very much like it. Yeah. I like it a lot. I think I've mentioned it. I might have mentioned it on the pod before, but I think I've definitely told you before that up to us doing this, Frankenstein is one of the 2 movies that I'd watched out of that box set, because I've had that box set for years. Watched them all.
Same.
Frankenstein was the first one that I watched, and it's one that I've watched on more than one occasion. The other one that that prior to starting the pod that I'd watched was Creature from the Black Lagoon. But yeah, I've watched Frankenstein several times. I love it. I think it's fantastic. I really do enjoy it.
I agree.
Lots of reasons. It's very beautifully shot and lit, and I like the sets, which we talked about in the Dracula episode. It's got that, I think, quintessential universal look for me, which is and it's probably because most of them are these sort of older gothic horror characters, Frankenstein and Dracula, etc. But the castles and the big sweeping staircases and flaming torches and silhouettes and all that sort of shadow play and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, it's very good, very, very beautiful.
Agreed. I not to just make this even quicker. I agree with everything you said. I do.
Okay, on to the Mummy then.
We're out of this bitch. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think more so than Dracula, and Dracula, like yourself, I had seen Dracula before, and I had seen The Mummy before, which we'll get to. I had never seen Frankenstein before. But I preferred this. I preferred this to Dracula. Not saying Dracula was bad. I enjoyed Dracula, but this was so far at the top for the ones we've watched. And spoiler, it still is.
Yeah.
Very much so. Good. I can sense. I can see your brain. I can see it.
Yeah.
I think what I started to get from these Universal films is that they don't hang around. What I really love is they get straight into it.
Yeah.
They really do get straight into the meat and potatoes of what's going on. They're short films. They're under 80 minutes, like between 70 and 80 minutes.
Yeah. Most cases just over an hour, I think. Again, Frankenstein, like Dracula, based on a novel. So there is that literary background for this movie. But yeah, which I've not read, so I can't possibly comment.
Yeah.
But yeah, it jumps straight in there, right at the beginning. The opening scene, we've got Dr. Frankenstein, grave robbing. Just he's in there with his little sidekick Fritz, and they're robbing a grave, and we very quickly find out why he's doing that. They don't hang around at all. They get straight into it, which is great. I like that. I like not having this sort of setup and preamble, and there's no like scenes of him going, I think I'm going to create a creature out of corpses, and then he goes off to do it. Like, we just cut that bit out, and he's doing it. This is what he's doing, and it's up to us to sort of catch up. I really like it.
The reporter from City of the Living Dead could learn a thing or two about cracking open a coffin/casket. And it's similar to what we said about in Society in our last episode, that how we don't need any of that preamble. Let's get straight into it. Let's go.
We pick up at a point in the story, and it's very quick. We very quickly can follow on what's happening and what's occurring. And in a nutshell, if you don't know the story of Frankenstein, it is about the same title, the same named scientist who is attempting to create life from death. Essentially, he's reanimating, creates a creature that's stitched together from various different body parts. He finds a brain for it, and brings it back to life.
Now, the finding the brain part was something that really surprised me, because I knew, I know Frankenstein is not the name of the monster. I know it's Dr. Frankenstein. It's the monster. Which, speaking of which, at the beginning, but the opening credits, Boris Karloff. No, it's the monster is credited ? Yeah. Then it's at the end credits, it's the monster Boris Karloff. So they kept that hidden. But what I didn't know about the monster was Frankenstein's assistant Fritz. When he goes to steal the brain, he fumbles and fumbles with the good brain, picks up the abnormal brain, the evil brain, if you will.
Abnormal, which then Abby something.
Yeah,
this makes me think of Young Frankenstein, which does that scene every time. It's brilliant.
Not technically horror, but that will need to be done at some point because it's so good.
I love Young
Frankenstein.
So good.
But I never knew that the monster. I mean, really, he's not a villain. He's confused. He doesn't know. He doesn't understand. Like, when he chucks the kid into the lake, I didn't even know the kid dies. I knew of that scene. I didn't know the aftermath, that the dad is carrying his deceased daughter through the village streets. It's very bleak.
For a very long time.
Very long time.
About this before, that scene is dragged out. We see him walk through the entire town carrying his dead child. I mean, famously, again, that's the point of Frankenstein, is that he's the creature. He's the victim. He doesn't know why he exists, and it raises all these questions about whether we should play God and what, because Frankenstein essentially shuns it. He washes his hands of his creation and tries to get on with his life, and you can't do that if that's what the movie's saying, is that you've got to take responsibility for your creation as much as your own actions. So it's not just a guy with some bolts to his neck, like rampaging around the place. It's got a lot of layers.
It's a lot deeper.
And, a lot deeper. It's very deep. A lot of deep subject matter to work through with it.
When you think about the monster in a more cultural, modern sort of sense, if someone was to dress up as from Halloween, they would have the bolts, they would have the big head, maybe the green sort of makeup, even though it's a black and white film.
Yeah.
You're just going for the deceased corpse, the corpse look, but they would probably portray it more in a lurch from Adam's, like a zombie, arms out,
or
front.
like the full arms, robotic manner. Yeah.
He's not like that. He's like a very simple-minded monster. It is what it is. It's kind of zombie-like, but incredibly simple-minded. It's down to the point of just does not understand what this brain is doing to him, making him do, how the world works, how everything around him works in life, and it's quite sad in some sense.
It is. As I said, Dr. Frankenstein creates life and then does nothing. Fritz is teasing him, and he shuns his creation and doesn't. There's no attempt to follow on from the experiment and educate his creature, his creation. It's essentially kick it out, and it's left to its own devices. And unfortunately, tragedy ensues. It kills this child.
But comes back with such remorse from doing that. After he does it, he could see the remorse in him, and he scuttles away into like the bushes.
Yeah, it's interesting, and it's very interesting to call it a horror film, really, because there's nothing. I suppose thinking sort of from the viewpoint of a 1930s audience, just to focus on the movie and not the novel that preceded it, but perhaps the look of the creature is frightening, is grotesque. We've got horror elements in the grave robbing and the creation of life, and this element of the supernatural, I suppose, or ultra super scientific science fiction angle.
Yeah, because I imagine back then a lot of scenarios like paranormal, so we say voodoo, anything related to, I guess you could call it necrophilia. Not necrophilia. I don't. No, that's not the right word. Working with the grave robbing, working with dead. It's all a lot more, I would say, frowned upon, a lot more heavily condemned, frowned upon, like anger about it, rather than nowadays people don't take it so seriously and just try to enjoy the movie for what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, like the hanging scene alone was highly condemned in the film. What the hanging scene? Can you remember? Do they take the body for the hanging from the person?
No, they don't take it because the neck's broken and the spinal cord is severed, and it'd be no use to him. It does. I think Fritz says like, "Oh, what about this one?" He's like, "No, the spinal cord will be broken. It's no good to us." It's why they need to exhume another corpse rather than just take the one that's hanging up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Fritz is an interesting character. His little sidekick. Like a little
Renfield.
His little Renfield. Popular culture has gone on to rename him as Igor or Igor.
I don't think we talked about that when we didn't, because that's interesting.
But it's purely a pop culture invention. So the that character, who for all intents and purposes, if I say Igor, you know what I'm talking. You know what I mean. It's the little
completely
hunchback, mad scientist, sidekick, helper, aid, assistant, whatever you want to call him. In the story, he's called Fritz, and the name Igor is never mentioned. And came later. It came from It could possibly have even been Young Frankenstein, but it came from later sort of iterations of this Frankenstein story or Frankenstein-esque stories, and became so synonymous with it that everybody just assumes that Dr. Frankenstein's assistant is called Igor.
Yeah,
and he isn't. It's not in the novel. There's no such character named in the original story in the movie. It's a pop culture creation that came after the fact and has had this sort of Mandela effect.
That's fascinating
for all of us.
I'm glad you brought it up now, because we definitely did talk about that last time.
Because on first watching this, I was like, oh, there's Igor, and then he's called something else, and I was very confused. I was incredibly confused by it. I mean, Frankenstein as well is Harry, isn't he? He's called Harry Frankenstein, I think.
Harry or Henry?
Or Henry, but it's not Victor. It's not Victor Frankenstein.
Not Victor, no.
Which again, everybody thinks Dr. Frankenstein is Victor Frankenstein. And he isn't. I think possibly that's his father.
No, his father's the Baron, which I want to talk about.
The Baron.
We want to talk about the Baron, the best character.
I'd forgotten about the Baron. Let's talk about the Baron. So, if you're gonna watch Universal Studios Frankenstein, there is only really one reason to watch it for, and that is the character of the Baron.
The Baron. Don't give them the champagne. What does he say? I've got it written down. Give the servers some champagne. This stuff's wasted on them. When he's brought out the good family wine, it's like, give them the champagne. He is fantastic.
He is absolutely outrageous, and he steals every scene that he's in by being incredibly outrageous, over the top. This sort of pompous, blustering. Oh yes, right, you know.
Yes.
Don't talk to the little woman. Don't talk to me. You want to make a cup of tea? Make yourself useful.
Yes, very much misogynistic,
sort of blustering, misogynistic. Absolutely hilarious. He's just.
He's Baron Frankenstein. His son Henry Frankenstein. Yeah.
Yeah. Who is Baron? Who is? Yes, played by Frederick Kerr. Baron Frankenstein. Yes, he's amazing. Absolutely steals the scene. Every scene he's in, he's great. First appears in the smoking jacket and pipe.
Ludicrous. He's always got that pipe on. The thing as well, which this was our second film in our series, that you start to notice, and I definitely noticed with The Mummy, they end so abruptly.
Oh yeah,
there's no time to breathe after it. That's it. We're out. We're done. Here comes the big Universal, the end, and the Universal world spinning. We're done. We're out.
But this ends on such a weird beat as well, because they have the big climactic windmill scene with the mob. The creature and Frankenstein are in this windmill, and the mob with the flaming torches and the pitchforks are outside, and that scene, we have that resolution, and then it cuts to, is it the Baron? And
probably, I hope.
It cuts. I can't remember.
But let's just say the Baron.
Probably the Baron and Frankenstein's wife. Again, I'm terribly misremembering what anybody Elizabeth. And then they're just like, all right, shall we have some tea? And that finishes credits.
It
cuts
does.
To this weird. Right, I mean, like the more logical thing would be like after the sort of windmill fight and then like roll credits.
Yeah.
But we have this like completely unrelated scene where there's not even like a few I'm glad that's over. It's like they're talking about something completely unrelated and then it ends. Yeah, they do. And that again, I agree. That seems to be a recurring theme, and I'm hoping, because maybe it's just it's their style, or it's the style of movies at the time. I don't know. I can't say I've sat through that many movies of this period.
I feel like it must have been and we'll find out as we go through the rest of the films. There's a reoccurring thing with the ending abruptly ending and using Swan Lake as your intro.
Yes.
Because again, which we'll get into, we'll talk about it in the Mummy episode, Swan Lake at the beginning.
I think that was my first note on the Mummy, actually, is that, oh, look, we've got Swan Lake again.
Some reason it felt fitting with Frankenstein, because I feel like it wasn't the beginning of the Dracula, I don't think.
No, I think it was something else.
But it just somehow felt fitting, didn't it? The Mummy. Again, we'll get onto that.
No, it didn't. It didn't. Huh. I mean, Swan... Who was Swan? Who wrote Swan Lake? Tchaikovsky.
Yeah.
It was Tchaikovsky. Yeah, maybe it was that European influence. Maybe, you know, I'm not... Where was Tchaikovsky from? He was Russian. So yeah, maybe it's that, and then Frankenstein is set Germany. So maybe that's
Frankenstein. I don't think it had a specific location, but it was very European.
It's very European, and I think that's maybe what European. It is. That why it fits. It's got that sort of European continent like vibe, if you will. Where so Swan, yeah, that's why I think Swan Lake worked for that. And then we've got the Mummy, which is Egypt, and the British Museum raiding Egypt. I've got a lot to say about.
Oh, I've got a lot to say, and don't worry, folks, that'll be on the next episode of Monsters at Universal, where we discuss the Mummy. We talked about Swan Lake. I'm just trying to look back for my notes of Dracula, and I'm fairly certain it might actually be. Is it at the beginning of?
Is it? I don't have my Dracula notes.
Oh, I tell you how I can find it. I put it at the beginning of our Dracula episode on the Dreadcast, which you can find on the Dreadcast YouTube channel, folks. It was episode 1 of our Monsters at Universal series, where we looked at Dracula 1931. Go check it out. I'm just having a look now because I need to confirm this. I need to have a look.
Confirm that. Yep. Another thing that struck
Swan Lake.
me.
Swan Lake.
It was Swan Lake. Is it just Universal then?
It must be. We'll
Universal
have to look into that.
Had the rights to Swan Lake.
Yeah.
And just made good use of them. So yeah, Boris Karloff, absolutely, like completely silent performance. Like the creature is almost entirely silent throughout, and a lot of this, that's
my impression.
Making sort of bad dad jokes like Herman Munster, but there's quite a lot of the time when he's on screen, it's silent as well. Like there's no backing track, there's no back score. It's just
I believe it's
looming out of the shadows, and
I believe it's
very eerie
because these were in theory like a transition from the silent movie period.
Quite possibly.
Yeah, for the most part, there is no score or sound design to this. They should have just chosen a very popular song at the time and slowed it down and put it on. I have no idea what's the hit single in 1931.
Oh, you know what? I want to find that out.
You want to find out? There we go. Okay. Why you do that? Few other.
I mean, it's pre-charts, so
yeah. A few other little. What you got? You got one?
Top popular recordings of 1931. Goodnight Sweetheart, Wayne King and his orchestra. That's got to be Goodnight Sweetheart.
I'm just thinking of the shitty TV show now.
Yeah, Nicholas Lyndhurst. It's a brilliant TV show. What are you talking about?
That is awful.
Time traveling. What's the word?
Bigamist.
Yes, that's the word I was looking for. Time traveling bigamy. What a subject matter for a daytime like
How do you
pre-watershed
pitch that?
sitcom.
How do you pitch that?
I don't know, but I've always thought it was brilliant, just a brilliant concept.
Yeah, it's wild. That's our transition from talking about the score from Frankenstein, the zero score from Frankenstein, to Goodnight Sweetheart.
Goodnight Sweetheart, which will feature on a future episode of
Damn right we will.
Our secondary, our sister podcast, the Nicholas Lyndhurst Files, coming to YouTube, Amazon, Podbean, Spotify.
Oh yes, to a major audio streaming service near you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, a few more little notes. What was I gonna say? So, I don't remember off the top of my head the budget and box office for Dracula, but I know this one did gangbusters. This was a 300k budget and made 12 million. That's mad for
that's
what it
old
is.
Money as well. 12 million old money.
That's like a bajillion now.
Yeah.
You know, 300k. That might as well have just come out the director's coin purse. They probably wouldn't have had a wallet by the back then. So.
It's like gold bars.
Yeah. But that's absolutely fantastic, and you can see why they, you know, Dracula did well, but then when this does numbers like this, that's obviously why they. I mean, this was the same year as Dracula. They then pumped these out.
They did
every
pump these
year,
out.
every year after.
Go on.
No, that was it. So yeah.
This did a bunch. I mean, this did a bunch of sequels as well. I mean, a direct sequel. We have The Bride of Frankenstein, and then I did look it up in the last recording, and I can't remember what it was, because I think we were trying to decide who was the more iconic creature, Dracula or
yes, we did
Frankenstein's creature. And I can't remember who it came down on. I think there was more. I think it was Dracula. I think there's been more cinema iterations of Dracula, but I'd argue that Karloff's Frankenstein is the Frankenstein.
Oh, completely, and it's more iconic than Bela Lugosi's
Dracula.
Yes,
yeah. I'd feel comfortable saying that. That's not to say that Bela Lugosi's Dracula is not iconic.
No,
but
not at all.
I feel subsequent actors who've played Dracula are perhaps more iconic in the role than Bela Lugosi was.
Gary Oldman.
Leslie Nielsen.
Yes. Yes, my friend.
That guy from that 2011 Dracula Untold or whatever it was.
No.
That guy from Blade Trinity.
Blade. I was going to say Blade. Yeah. Blade.
Christopher Lee. There you go. There's another legit one.
Christopher Lee in Blade. I don't remember that.
No. Yes, he was in. Lord of the Blade. But I think Karloff's Frankenstein. I mean, we've probably not had as many famous iterations of Frankenstein.
No, because I guess with the concept, there's only so much you could do with it. With Dracula, he's your antagonist. You could put it in so many different settings. He's a vampire. You know, Frankenstein is the Mad Doctor. You get it in the Reanimator sense. You know, there's a Reanimator, but it's more about the corpse, the monster.
Yeah, I mean there have been sequels, and we've had a bunch of crossover ones. Frankenstein meets the Wolfman, and things like that, and you know, the monsters.
Abbott and Costello, I believe, as well.
Abbott and Costello movies. There was a '90s Frankenstein with Robert De Niro.
Really now?
Yeah. Yeah. 94, I want to say. Quickly look that up.
Frankenstein 94.
Mary Shelley's Frankenstein 1994. Yeah, Robert De Niro played. He played the creature, I think.
Oh, and Kenneth Branagh. Oh,
yeah,
Jesus.
Kenneth Branagh plays Victor Frankenstein. So we do get Frankenstein's name as Victor in subsequent iterations of the story, but he's not named Victor in the original. So I don't know where that comes from.
I recognise the poster for this. It looks like Unbreakable. The logo looks like Unbreakable. Okay, but Robertson, that art design, that art direction on Robert De Niro's makeup is not good. Can you see it?
Yeah.
That's not good.
Yeah. No, I don't think it did. I don't think the movie did particularly well, which is weird because I very vividly remember it coming out. Very, very vividly. Like they were really trying to push it and make a big deal of it, and I think it was just a bit of damp squib. There was a Mega Drive game of it.
Was it?
Truly awful. It's absolutely horrendous, but yeah.
That makeup is it suffers from the modern, I don't know if it's really a trope or a choice, where we don't want to go with the old hokey, comical looking, big head. We want to go for a more modern, subtle approach to our Frankenstein. But it's like, no. Sorry, our monster, not Frankenstein. It's like, no, it's such an iconic name. You know the name. It might not be the monster's name, but you know it. When you say Frankenstein, you think big head bolts. Okay, that's it. Go with it.
Instead, we've got Travis Bickle with some facial scars.
I don't think of this burn victim.
Or a burn victim, yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's not a great design. It's not a great design. But like I said, I mean the Frankenstein monster, the creature design is that Karloff look. That is that one.
It is.
There's nothing else that's ever really touched it. I'm just looking through some other sequels. I think they Young Frankenstein, they went a slightly different route as well. But yeah, I mean, whenever, I suppose that goes to show, whenever they've tried to tinker with the look of it, it's flopped. It's been bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, Karloff's iteration is the like poster boy for monsters. he's up there. It's very iconic.
Yeah, completely.
And they're from all kinds of merch and T-shirts and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, and I think, we obviously I think we both recommend it, but it's also it's not so much it's an iconic film. It's an important film. All of these, in theory, are important. Whether or not we like them or not, they're very important films. And I would say, with Dracula, with this, do check them out. See what they're all about. See the differences compared to modern day horrors and these nearly 100 years ago.
Yeah,
look into the production qualities and see what you think.
Especially with these ones, because I think we're gonna for the most part. I think there's maybe one or two exceptions, but for the most part, with your Draculas, your Frankenstein, your Wolfman, there have been so many different versions of that character that you feel like you know the story before you're going into it. It's an instantly recognizable character. If you say Frankenstein, it conjures the image of the green face and the neck bolts and scar. If you say Dracula, you get the coat, the cape and the widow's peak sort of slick back hair. You say You say, you know, they're very, very iconic. So I think everybody should go back and take a look at them. And again, as we've said, they're very quick. They're very fast.
Yeah.
You know, a cup of tea, sit down, put your feet up for an hour. You can watch one of these movies.
Yeah. Experience some history.
And do it. Yeah, no, they're worth it. But like, you know, as we've said with Frankenstein, just to sort of wrap things up, it does have some of those gorgeous, like, painted canvas set.
Oh, the map paintings.
The matte paintings.
Yeah, yeah.
And, you know, big sweeping staircases. I think I said in the last recording, there's a shot of it's Fritz coming down the stairs with a lit torch, and then his silhouette, and it's very reminiscent of that sort of Dracula silhouette up the wall. And it's just such a striking shot. He's going to answer the door. It's a fairly mundane scene in terms of like what's actually happening in the plot. I think he's going to answer the door to the castle as Elizabeth's come to visit Henry. But it's so beautifully lit and shot, and really sort of stands out as like a striking image. That arguably doesn't need that level of cinematography, you know what I mean? It doesn't need that level of like beautiful framing and lighting. Is answering the door. it's fun. It's fun to see. Yeah, they're easy. It's an easy watch. They're easy to watch, and Frankenstein especially for me is the peak of what we've seen so far, I think. Agreed.
Yeah. Okay. So, apologies, one and all, again, that this, compared to our normal work, shall we say, this is a bit more of a brief, faster pace. Let's get through it. We had complications. Antrum, curse. The podcast was cursed. We lost everything, but we hope we've done justice in giving you the content on Frankenstein 1931, our opinions, our thoughts, our recommendation of it, and hope you enjoyed this. And yeah, do go check it out. And hopefully you can join us for the next episode, where we will be looking at The Mummy, the third film. And we're doing these in chronological order of release from on the Universal Studios. So The Mummy, which is, I guess, our part 2 of Boris Karloff. It's really, now the problem is, right, the way I'm wording this, we are recording all of this at once, but this will be split into 2 episodes. Okay,
trying to mentally separate it.
Yeah, I am generally trying to mentally separate it by going, so we'll see you next week, folks, and then in about 2 minutes we're about to start the next one. Like, no, so I hope you enjoy this, and we'll see you in the next episode for The Mummy.
Yeah, until next time, guys. Stay spooky.
Stay spooky.